Hey guys, what's up? It's Peter, and I'm doing a commentary on my first review ever posted on this channel, my Final Fantasy XIII review. God. Yeah, first I need to address that January this month is pure legacy content. It's gonna be quicker, more easy videos for me just because December and the Lightning Returns review really took a lot, and I'm so sick of being stuck at my computer screen. I was at my computer screen for like, oh god, like 3 weeks straight, and I'm so glad it's over. But yeah, so god, my impressions here are not that good. Mostly because when I did the voiceover for those, my voice was kind of shot. So, you know, I couldn't wait for my voice to be better. No, do it right now and then deal with the issues in post. And then I didn't deal with the issues in post. So this is actually the HD or updated version of the review. And the reason is the original review, like when I edited it fine. It looked good, but this review was my first time using Adobe Premiere. Because at that point, my wife had gotten a really nice laptop from one of my coworkers, and I just never used Premiere before. I was always using Windows Movie Maker, and I didn't get a really quality computer until I want to say a year and a half ago. So and you guys, it reflects on my channel because you can see more content coming out around then because I had better editing software. Because Windows Movie Maker, for those who've used it, know that it is prone to crashing. It's not very good with effects, if any. Adding credits is a pain in the ass. It's great for basic sort of video editing, but for more complex stuff like this, it's just not possible. So I wasn't used to Premiere, and I didn't know how to export it, because exporting a video in Movie Maker is so easy and simple, but the quality is shit. So I didn't know what I was doing when I exported the original review, and I didn't really realize how terrible the video quality came out as. So yeah, that's why I was kind of motivated to go back to do the HD version, especially because in the more recent years, I was getting more into higher quality video, like cleaner video, because for a while I had a big CRT in my room. Like, I didn't really upgrade with the times necessarily, because and this still stands true, I'm really not a fan of modern gaming. I think after the 6th gen, the gaming industry changed in a way that I don't like, with DLC and patches and just us being willing to buy games that we know are not complete yet. Stuff like that just drives me crazy. So I didn't upgrade with the times. I didn't really notice how awful the video looked. Looking at it now, yeah, it looks like shit. I mean, this is the HD version. Like, I went back and re-got some things in higher quality. There's just some things I couldn't go back and recreate. I couldn't recreate me in front of the green screen, and so there's a lot of extra space, and I couldn't recreate some of the footage that was ruined. I could redo the cutscenes. I couldn't redo the actual footage. So yeah, did what I could. I don't think I will. I'm going to give a similar treatment to Final Fantasy XIII 2's review, just because I'm not entirely happy with it, because that one didn't necessarily get fucked up in exporting. That got fucked up because of me trying to overcompensate for the flaws of this review, like really bad audio mixing, because I thought the audio in this one didn't come out that great. And looking back on it, I actually think this has better audio than the XIII 2 review. But enough of the preamble or the backstory. So yeah, this is the first review on this channel, and this game, I played 13 originally after I played Final Fantasy IX, and I'm in the minority on this. I really wasn't a big fan of 9. I found the main character to be very unlikable and obnoxious. I wasn't impressed with Nobuo Uematsu's score. And I mean, the gameplay for the most part was fine. It was just, you know, when you give me an annoying character, it really kind of hurts it for me. And I really wasn't a fan of the world. Like, 9 really started this whole, like, people say that 10 and 13 are linear, but, like, 9, I think, started it, because 9 had that one continent that had, like, all the 4 major cities and kingdoms or whatever on it, and the rest of the world, there was, like, nothing. There was, like, occasional things, like occasional small villages. That's that. That was added imposed because I completely forgot about Vaughn. Whoops. But, yeah, so I played 13 after I was just kind of sick of, 9. Just after I beat it, I just felt like I need a new Final Fantasy game, because this one didn't do it for me. And 13 I got for like $5, and I knew nothing about it because I just didn't pay attention really. And you know, it was in GameStop. This is back when I shopped at GameStop. It was in their it was like in their bargain bin with like LA Noire and Fable 3 and all those kind of games. It's EA, Madden stuff. So I was like, alright, cool, Final Fantasy game, and it's cheap. And I heard, the only thing I really heard about it that was that it was linear. Which I was like, alright, well, if it's linear, I mean, knowing that going in, it won't bother me. And when I first started 13, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked where it was going, because I didn't mind the faster combat at first. Like, yeah, it was, the player was completely removed from the fucking equation, but I didn't mind it so much because I was like, oh, okay, I mean, maybe, oh god, fuck off. I have to listen to this fucker again soon. Oh god, I can't even play it in Japanese because that's not any better. That's actually worse. But anyway, so yeah, I was enjoying 13's combat at first. The paradigm system, like, when it starts, you're just usually playing as Lightning and Saz, and then like Snow, and then Hope and Vanille. And for like 2 characters, I'm like, okay, it's not the worst thing. And I even didn't mind the characters. I think Lightning looks gorgeous, like just as like a character design. I love it. But the more and more the game goes on, the less and less shit there is. It really started to hit me how much I didn't care about anything. The characters, other than Saz and Snow, they were, especially for Vanille and Lightning and Hope, I hated them. Like, I hated Hope because he was annoying, and he just said, Hope, Snow's a jerk. And Lightning just one note, I'm serious. And fucking Vanille is the most cynically written character in, I think, the history of Final Fantasy. Like, I think Vanille's the absolute worst thing Final Fantasy has done. I mean, at least in terms of, like, stories and characters, I can't attest for Square Enix's business practices with the series, but no, Vanille is just the absolute worst. Fang leaves no impression on me. I completely forget about her. She's supposed to be like this wild card, but I feel nothing. And Snow, like, he's dumb as shit, but at least he's got passion and optimism, and he's got a fucking great voice actor who delivers these lines perfectly. So, yeah, hope you suck. But yeah, so, like, I didn't mind Snow. I know a lot of people hated him, but I didn't mind him. And Saz is, like, a legitimately good character that they gave, like, this really bizarre design and shoved a chicken in his head. I don't know why. Sorry, I got water because an hour of non-stop talking is going to drive me crazy. So yeah, and the whole hallway thing, like, that was, it was an exaggeration in the sense that it was way worse than I thought it would be. Like, I thought everyone saying the hallway was bad, it was an exaggeration. No, the people who said the hallway wasn't that bad, that was an exaggeration. It was horrible. I hated it. It fucking going in a straight line. And how much, like, how little the combat progresses as you go on. Like, it never changes. It's always the same switching formations and letting the computer do the hard stuff. And then just mashing X. Like, yeah, in a lot of the older games, you could get by mashing X, but at least you could still fucking control your party. I couldn't even control my party other than making them do this stupid little paradigm shift dance and then fucking get beat up and mash X some more. It was so fucking boring. And the Eidolons is like, what the fuck do the Eidolons even do? Because they give them this badass animation where they summon from a crystal and they don't fucking do anything. Their attacks are so fucking minimal. I used them for a potion. And getting back to the hallway though, like, it just kept going and going in a straight fucking line. And it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not playing a game. I'm fucking holding a control stick forward and watching it just watch. The whole hallway might as well have just been a cutscene of people walking. It would be the same amount of involvement. And people are trying to justify that that's the tutorial part of the game, but like, what tutorial should be 20 fucking hours? Are you out of your fucking mind? I really fucking hated that shit. And here's where I fucked up in this going to Vanille again. Because I was like, I don't know if this actress is trying to do an Australian or a British accent. The actress is Australian. And listening to it now, I can hear the Australian accent a bit more. But the way they are directing her. I saw an interview with her where she was talking about how they directed her to deliver her lines. And it's totally unnatural in English to speak the way that she does. But it was how she was told to do it. So I can't blame the voice actress. She even, in the interview, she even pleads with fans, like, give Vanille a chance, give Vanille a chance. I'm like, okay, it's not your fault, lady, but there's so much to hate about Vanille besides the accent. The accent's just like an added bonus. But that whole situation with the voice acting, it's actually very similar to Shenmue. When Shenmue originally came out, the voice acting in it was, everyone said it was awful and terrible and cringeworthy and awkward and all this shit, but the thing is, that was exactly how they were told to act. That was how they were directed, because they wanted the game to be really true to Japanese. But there are some things in Japanese that don't translate to English because it's not natural to English. It's not something we do. Like, I think in Shenmue, every time Ryo has a drink, he goes, ah, good. Like, we don't do that in English. We just, half the time we drink soda, we just go, ah. That's it. We don't go, good. But in Japan, a lot of time when they have a drink of something, they'll say umai or sugoi, which just means like sweet, delicious, stuff like that. It's totally foreign to us, but because the game takes place in Japan and they want it to be super Japanese focused, that they force the voice actors to deliver those lines like that. So I sympathize with Vanille's situation, but again, like, it's the least offensive. Yeah, Saz, a good character. I did think he was gonna, like, look at this intro. It's totally, like, it sets the complete wrong tone for Saz. Like, he really isn't that much of a goofy character. He just, he really is kind of an everyman character. He's just trying to fucking live the daily life, and then he gets wrapped up in this crazy situation. But the game plays it up like, oh, he's clumsy and goofy. It's like, no, he's just a regular fucking dude. Like when he like has that goofy fall and lightning gets out of the way so our little gravity thing could catch him, it's treated like it's like this, oh, look at how silly he is. Like, that's a fucking guy who just fell. And yeah, this whole, I mean, this is character dynamic I don't give a fuck about between these two. Like, I don't care about Vanille and Saz bonding, but like the way it's done, yeah, I say it reminds me of Lost in Translation with Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray. It's a lot like that, and the missions are pointless, but I liked character development. I stand by, like, if you give me a good character in a story, I can stick through some of the shitty stuff, but a bad character can really ruin a story. Like Final Fantasy VIII is a game that has a completely shit story. I know people love it. The story in 8, I think, is like awful. And the characters in 8 are really stupid, but like they're likable and they have a charm to them, so I'm willing to go with them on their journey, even though it's a fucking stupid journey. And even in 13.3, that review is out now. In Lightning Returns, Lightning is likable enough. Like, she's not like Sash, she's not that well developed, but she's likable enough that I don't mind going with her on this journey. And I really liked Lumina, so like it's a motivation, like, okay, if I go with Lightning, I can see more of Lumina. And yeah, I made that in the review very apparent. I love Lumina.
Final Fantasy VII, almost none of these characters have any direct connection except for Cloud and Tifa. But I still
okay, sorry, I gotta take drinks every now and then. God, I would just rather replay 7 and 6. That's gonna be a video down the line, 6 versus 7, because that's such a divide between the fan base. I prefer 7, but I can't act like 6 isn't amazing. It really is.
Wait, what? Who the fuck is that kid?
Oh, my poor wife. This is my wife's first time doing any voice acting in any of these, and she was not happy with it. Just because she felt awkward and uncomfortable. Now she is totally down for it and is totally willing to do the voice acting, but back then she just felt awkward. And now she's like excited. She had a little build up in the post-credit scene for the Lightning Returns review, so she's ready. She's ready to be involved, and she's gonna come in the 6 and 7 review. And we have a couple of ideas. Like, she's not going to be constant. She'll come in at some point for a Fire Emblem video too. We have a bunch of ideas. It's just a matter of time. She's a nurse. I work 2 jobs, so it's a little tricky. And games are not like movies. They're so time consuming. Like when I was doing December, that was actually, the DC videos were actually the easy part, because a movie review is so much easier than a video game review. With a video game review, like Lightning Returns, for example, I probably had 40 hours of footage to work with, but with movies, like, you only have 2 hours. So it's relatively easy, and there's not that fourth dimension of interactivity that games have. Cinema doesn't have that, unless it's like some kind of like Final Destination, pick how the character dies sort of menu system. But oh god, the music in this game sucks. But yeah, so that was the easy part. The Lightning Returns review was so hard, so fucking hard. So that was the headache, and I was fucking so glad when I finished that, because I needed a break after that. I lost my train of thought there. I'm mumbling.
It is one of the most pretentious things in the game. It always comes in to remind us that this game is deep and complex.
Oh god. I hate Christina Perri music. Oh god, I hate it. I haven't heard her since like 2012, 2011, so I can't even. That's a pretty old school reference. So I guess a thing I could address is my wife's gonna be Spider-Gwen in the reviews. That's no secret, but she's not gonna be constant. And I'm really not that big of a fan of character-driven critical commentary. Like, it had its time, but like nowadays I just don't gravitate towards it. Like when I was younger, I definitely gravitated towards that kind of media, like, you know, like your nostalgia critics, like your angry video game nerds. But after a while, like that whole shtick runs dry, and it just becomes boring. And my thing was, the reason I did this as Spider-Man was not because I was trying to do a character-driven review, sort of, or reviewer, critical commentator, whatever. It was more so I didn't want my face out there. And the reason for that was just because at my one of my jobs involves a lot of dealing with public and a lot of public appearances, and I just wanted to keep those two elements as separate as possible. So that's why I had the Spider-Man outfit just for New York Comic Con. So, oh god, Celeste's theme is like the most amazing thing ever. But yeah, so I had the Spider-Man suit for New York Comic Con, so I was like, alright, if I wear this, then I don't have to show my face. And you can see in later reviews that I downgraded the suit in a way because I started wearing just the mask, and then I would just wear a sweatshirt, and that's kind of the look I've given myself for the Ranting Spider-Man. But the initial reason was not because, well, there was two reasons. One, I was lazy. That's why I stopped wearing the whole suit. And two, reason I didn't want to admit to myself, but I was getting fat. Unfortunately, when you work 2 jobs and don't eat good and don't sleep well, that shit catches up to you. Didn't seem to be a factor, but when you get older, yeah, it hits you. So I put on 40 pounds, I think. I think I clocked it at my absolute fattest was 185, and I'm only 5'6". I'm a pretty short guy, so that was not a good ratio. And eventually, I lost all the weight. This year, actually. I'm back down to last time I checked, 139, which is a appropriate weight. Combination of intermittent fasting, proper diet, and exercise. Nothing really special. It really wasn't difficult to lose the weight. It was tedious, but it wasn't difficult. And I was able to order the new Amazing Spider-Man suit that for New York Comic Con that I wore, and I really love that suit. And you guys may have noticed the mask change too. I was gonna do a thing for that. I was gonna build up to that. I was gonna have a little intro for December, because what I uploaded was just a little video on my channel titled "Coming Soon," where it's just the intro to December. That was not originally how I was going to build up December. The original plan for that was to have me just like sitting on the couch, just playing a game, and then all of a sudden things get dark, and the whole room starts shaking, and I'd be like covered in darkness in my original suit, and when the lights come back on, I'm in the new Amazing Spider-Man suit, because that's the whole series was supposed to be a darker version of Spider-Man. So then I was going to build up to December that way. The problem was I actually lost the original Ranting Spider-Man mask, because a buddy of mine is a photographer, and he wanted to go kayaking, so we went on a kayaking trip, and I brought the whole Spider-Man suit, because I was skinny enough to fit in it again, and he brought his camera, and we found a train bridge, and we just got some cool photos of me like hanging upside down from the top of the bridge. I was doing it was 20 feet up or something like that, but worth it. But he got like sick after a while, because we paddled a lot. We were out like miles, and on our way back he got sick, so we stopped at that same bridge, and he was just puking his guts up, and I left the mask on that bridge, and that bridge is in the middle of the ocean. So some poor seagull is probably choking on my Spider-Man mask, or more likely, it put the Spider-Man mask on and is currently fighting crime. So, yeah. I'm a little disappointed. I did like that mask. Like, I really liked the eyes on that because I'm not too big on. I like the Amazing Spider-Man movies fine. Oh, let me try that again. I like the first Amazing Spider-Man movie fine. The second one is awful, and I hate it. But the first one, I liked it, and I liked the redesign to the suit, except for the little eyes. The little eyes drove me crazy, and that's unfortunately what I'm stuck with in my suit, or in my new mask, so, yeah, can't win there. And a clip like that, yeah, I had to, in post, because back when I edited this, I was very much of the mindset that everything needs to be 16 by 9. Even if I need to stretch out the image, it needs to be 16 by 9. That was actually the easier shit to go back and fix, just taking those clips and unstretching them back to 4 by 3. That was the easier part. And God, just looking at this combat system annoys me. Lightning Returns combat system, it's not perfect, but it's so much fucking better than both 13 and 13-2. And I'm surprised at how little I've mentioned 13-2 at all, but that game left such little, the littlest impact it left on me. It was so small and insignificant. It was such a dumb fucking game, and I so didn't care about Caius and Yule. Seeing them again in Lightning Returns was like being reminded of like a screaming baby on a plane. It's like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's fucking irritating. That's 13-2. A screaming baby on a plane. And when I go back to doing, to do the, can't even talk right now, I had a long day, but when I get back to, re-editing the 13-2 review, one thing I'm definitely going to change is the score. I don't know what mood I was in that I felt so generous as to give that game a fucking 5 out of 10. That game is a fucking 4 out of 10. I'm going to fix that because I don't know how generous I was. Another thing I need to fix is in the 13-2 review, I gotta fix the I know I sound like George Lucas right now, but I gotta fix the story section because I got so fucking lazy with that review, and I'm really disappointed in myself that I did this, but I just took one track from I took the Phantom Train from Final Fantasy VI, and I just played that throughout the entire story section, which is like 20 minutes of that is terrible, and I can't find any way to edit it out without destroying the voiceover, so I'm going to have to re-record all that. Thankfully, I still have the original script for the 13-2 review, but God, that was so stupid. And the ending, my voice is a little messed up. It's not because it was starting to go, but because those I recorded those in sections. Usually now I do voiceovers all at once, so it's just consistent, and then I run it through a leveling software so that nothing peaks out of range. But back then it was all sections on my cell phone, and I was not living where I'm currently living. I had to move to a smaller place for a little bit, and at that place the cats had to be relegated to the bedroom, and unfortunately, despite the fact that I have 2 cats that I love, I am allergic to cats. So at the end of my 13-2 review, you can hear me starting to get really stuffy, and then I start sounding like this, and you can see 13-2 is not a very good, it sounded terrible. So, yeah, I gotta redo that. I actually like that. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I sound younger in this review. I mean, I was younger, but, you know, that's, it's nice to be reminded of your younger years.
This wouldn't be so bad if some of the enemies didn't require to be staggered, or else the fight would take 400 years.
Yeah, burp right into the microphone. Don't give a fuck. Actually, a fun thing. This is kind of funny. Editing voiceovers. You guys have no idea how many times I have to edit out me burping. Because I just love drinking Zevia, soda with stevia instead of sugar. It's so fucking good, but the downside is, like, well, it's carbonated, so I'm always burping, and then it makes you have to piss like a motherfucker. So, the amount of fucking times I have to burp or take a potty break because I'm a child. I recorded that line like 6 times. I couldn't find a way to do the patience part without sounding forced. I've never played the Game Boy Advance remake of Final Fantasy VI. I don't know why anyone would. If you have the Super Nintendo version, play the Super Nintendo version. Even the PlayStation version is not that bad. I mean, yeah, you gotta deal with the load times. This actually came out pretty good for an amateur with Premiere. Just the editing to make it look like 7's interface.
I guess we don't need that when we have awesome.
Back then, I had like,
which leads to my next
I was very I got very bitter when people said anything bad about 7. And I'm not gonna say I still get bitter, but I think 7 gets a bad rap these days, not because it's a bad game, but just because it was overexposed for such a long fucking time, and then it was milked, and now it's like forgotten almost. In some ways, like the fucking remake that is probably never going to come out, and nor is it going to be any good. Because Final Fantasy VII, I always say that Final Fantasy VII is to Square Enix what The Dark Knight was to Warner Brothers. It was their amazing installment in their franchise that they don't understand why it was successful. So Square Enix just reduced all the characters to emo fuckers and ruined Cloud, and it just ruined the legacy of the game. But when you go back and play the game without that shit clouding your judgment, the game is still fucking amazing. It's still one of the greatest games ever. I definitely don't believe it's overrated. It definitely was overexposed for a while. But I do get annoyed when people say that 7. They were complaining when Final Fantasy VII was put on that garbage PlayStation Classic. Like, oh god, Final Fantasy VII's on everything. And it's like Final Fantasy VII has had. There's only been one physical fucking release of Final Fantasy VII, and that was on the PlayStation and Windows. Like, you can tell me all you fucking want about the digital releases, but I don't give a fuck about digital releases, because for the most part, I don't fucking buy digital games. The only time I ever buy digital games is if the games are completely exclusive and if they don't look like they're coming to a physical form anytime soon. Like with what was it, Sonic Mania? I knew that was going to come physically because I know Sega, they're going to put fucking Sonic on a cartridge if the game sells well. They want to make money. And yeah, I wasn't shocked at all when Sonic Mania got a physical release, and I bought the shit out of that. I'm so fucking glad I did, because Sonic Mania is fucking awesome, but I would have felt gypped if I bought the fucking digital version just for them to release a physical version. So 7 only has the one physical version. And my hope is that when 7 comes to Nintendo Switch, it'll be an actual... Oh god. My wife did not want to scream for that line. But yeah, I hope when 7 comes to the Switch, it's an actual cart and not a fucking stupid-ass fucking virtual console. I mean, to be honest though, with the Switch, I would probably still get it just because I can play it portably. And Portable 7 is something great on a real competent console. Anyway, not fucking mobile shit.
What to do, you'll probably end up dying several times, and every time you die, you'll have to reset your paradigms and re-level your characters if you didn't save, despite the fact
yeah, I just... This game's like a headache. Look at that little doom counter. Yeah, this was the stupidest thing. I don't know why they made your Eidolons turn into vehicles. That just... That felt so fucking weird. Like, these godlike creatures were modeled after a fucking motorcycle? Like, what?
What the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, I don't really use,
do they turn into vehicles?
I don't do a lot of, cutting back to the green screen footage. Like, usually my reviews are, you only see me in the beginning and the end. Very rarely do I come in with any interjections in the middle. Just because I just don't like to do that. I don't like reactionary shit. At least, not for me. It's just not my style. And also, like, really, what reactionary shit can I do? I'm wearing a fucking mask. I can't express anything. I mean, yeah. Can you guys look at how much I'm scaling at this game? It's behind this mask.
this really cool.
Oh, there's a fun little trick with me and my wife were at Comic-Con. People were taking pictures of us. I was like, I leaned over to her while we were taking a photo, and I was like, I don't know why I'm smiling for this photo. No one can see it. For all they know, I'm fucking mouthing the word cunt over and over again.
You can hit a button
Oh god, Grandpulse, don't even fucking get me started. Oh, I'm gonna get started. I'm just gonna another swig of water. I'm almost out of water already, just because I'm very thirsty and this game sucks, and I have a lot of shit to say about it.
I just spam one of each until the last 2 or 3 points before I use the finishing attack.
The fucking Grandpulse, I remember the fucking, all these stupid ass fanboys, the game gets good after 20 hours, like still. I should not have to wait 20 hours for a game to become good. What kind of garbage is that? Like really, would you play Ocarina of Time if it sucked for 20 hours? Should have added more fucking quotation marks around the word world. But yeah, and when you get to Grandpulse, it is really not that fucking great. It is just an empty sandbox filled with the same bullshit side quest, and they're like, oh, and level grind. Like, what the fuck? That's all you can do is side quest and level grind. What kind of fucking world is that? You made me go through 20 hours of the game just to do that shit? And then, yeah, let's get into the map right now for the other 20 hours. Look at that. Look at this shit. Does this look fun to you, kids? Yeah, occasionally you can go to the right. Ooh, fuck me sideways. It's so great. Oh, my fucking God. I think the world was, yeah, I think I even say the world was the absolute worst thing in 13. Just because beyond, like, beyond the character, like the actual structure of the world as a universe, just the structure of the world as a fucking functional sandbox, it fails. It is so fucking boring. Here's another confusing thing. In Lightning Returns, like, the Ark is the old Cocoon, but they recycle the term Ark from this game, where Ark was where they train Lassies, which is just the fucking game's excuse to be like, hey, level grind for us please, so you can have a challenge, or so you can play the game.
It may deviate from time to time, but it makes no difference. You can still only progress forward, and you're unable to go.
Oh my god, just looking at the fucking Ark was so. There was a certain point in this game where I really started to check out and start hating it, and that came when Buenavelza. That's not right. It's fucking 13.3. Oh, what the I don't even remember. Fucking the fucking leader of Cocoon. Dicely, that's his fucking name. When he's revealed to be a fal'Cie, that's when I was like, this game is stupid and it sucks. And I don't like it. But when it started getting, like, to hate, like, that already made me, like, really start to dislike the game. But when I started to hate it was with the scene with Sid Reigns. When he comes in, he's like, yes, you guys are brave, noble, but the fal'Cie have been using you guys. Don't worry, I will foil their plans and murder you! Like, what? It makes no sense. And I was just so fucking done. The voice acting and the dialogue was so overly pretentious. The presentation was so stupid. Yeah, oh my god. That's when I was like, this game sucks. And I literally almost quit right there. I think when I got to that one room where, I don't know, there's some fucking little tower you had to go up in Pulse that had, like, birds flying around. I think at that point I was like, I need a break, and I don't think I touched the game for like 2 weeks. And when I came back, I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything at all. It was really fucking dull. I don't even remember the last part of the game, though. Like, I don't even remember fighting Orphan. Like, he wasn't challenging. It took them until fucking, it took until Lightning Returns to give me a challenging final boss, and he wasn't, like, the hardest. He was pretty difficult, but not the worst thing. Fucking Orphan, and especially Caius, were so stupid easy. I don't even remember Orphan, but Caius, oh my god, he turns into a stupid ass dragon at the end, and then and it's the most basic of final fights. Yeah, and I rushed through the fucking. I just left Grand Pulse. I didn't need to stay in Grand Pulse. Like, my characters were strong enough. I didn't need to fucking level grind. This I've kind of changed my opinion on. But I think why it bothered me here was because it was so just pre-programmed. Like, the enemies were just put there so you would be at the appropriate level because it's just a straight path. It would be no different if they just placed upgrades on the ground that gave you the same amount of experience. It would be the same streamlined experience. It would just be boring. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, I don't agree with everything I said in this review just because my opinion changed. I don't even remember what Final Fantasy game this is. I think it's one on the Vita. And this looks like Final Fantasy. I don't know how the game is, but it looks like Final Fantasy. This looks stupid. And yeah, I go off on how annoying it is that, like, this game literally had the opportunity to give you 2 worlds to explore, and it gave you none. Grand Pulse was just an open sandbox. Oh, yeah. Hey, me, I was just talking about this. Hey, it's like, I noticed this with a lot of RPGs, though. I think I talked about this with the Last Story. Like, Last Story had the opportunity to give you 2 continents, or 2 countries to explore, and they fucking don't do it. They have 1 mission in the other country, but, like, it's so brief, and Hironobu Sakaguchi worked on that game. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that dude. Like, The Last Story was the last major title he worked on. I know I'm in the minority on that. I don't think that's a great way to go out, because I wasn't really impressed with that game. I don't think I've ever done a miscellaneous category other than this, just because this game had so much little shit in it that drove me crazy. Oh god, this Crystarium. After Lightning Returns, though, I became a little nostalgic for the Crystarium because, yeah, fucking holding down X and watching a screensaver sucks, but at least it's not tied to, at least your stats aren't tied to fucking fetch quests. And that editing, that's some great editing. Yeah, good god. Fucking figure this out. Somebody fucking write a book on how to upgrade weapons in this game, because I can't figure it the fuck out. And yeah, I didn't even really need to. I really didn't. My weapons were plenty strong enough. God, let's look at this stupid fucking menu. Fucking Lightning Returns was also pretty shit with this, but it was with the abilities, which debatably is kind of worse. This game just drains me. I literally have no desire to ever go back and replay this game. Like, I'm willing to a degree to go back to 13.2 with the proviso that I could, like, skip around. And I would be okay to go back to Lightning Returns if I really had to for some reason, but 13 you could not. You would have to pay me a decent amount of money to want to go back and waste my time on this. And really, like, yeah, reducing the shops to just those floating little balls. And oh my fucking god. Okay, before I get to the fucking data logs, the reducing the shops and the save point and everything to just one little floating ball is so stupid, because it's just an excuse for them to not create an actual world. Like, even the guy who worked on this game, like the main, I forget his name, but he said, like, they didn't want to program actual towns in HD because it'd be too hard, which, are you fucking serious? Really? Like, that's your reasoning? And I've seen some people defend this terrible story, or this terrible gameplay linearity by saying like, oh, you know, it wouldn't make sense for the characters to walk around and explore towns and villages when they're on the run. It's like characters were on the run in 6 and 7. In 6 they were on the run from the Empire, and 7 they were on the run from Shinra. They still fucking went to stores and shit, and towns and villages. They did not go to Junon because, oh, Shinra's there. We can't hang out there. Like, you can have characters be on the run and mix in actual humanity. Like, fucking characters would still go to stores to get supplies. Like, wouldn't the need to get supplies add a sense of dread to the whole experience? On top of being on the run, it's like they don't understand that narrative. Like, okay, sure, yeah, watching characters be on the run in a movie and they're not going into a town, whatever, that could work. But when it's a game, I want to play I dropped a cat. But when it's a game, I want to play the game. So, fuck off with that excuse. That excuse sucks. See, I'll also take back that I don't really think we need to name the characters whatever we wanted, but, okay, the data logs. The data logs are just a perfect example of incredibly lazy to write. I think I used that fucking clip of the baby with the spoon twice in 2 separate reviews. Oh my god. But yeah, the data logs are just the absolute worst thing in terms of storytelling, world building, character build. The data logs are awful because it is just an excuse. It is a crutch for the creators to not have to find a way to work in all these different elements naturally. Oh, I love this. Hold on.
When and how did Sarah come into contact with the Pulse Fal'Cie? Was she just frolicking in the fields and ran into a 200-story metal monstrosity?
I love that. But yeah, the data logs are just a crutch that they used because they were lazy, or just... I don't want to say that they're lazy. Oh yeah, they did give Jar Jar Binks a tank. But I don't want to say that they're lazy, but it really comes off that way because some of these decisions they made really don't make sense. It just comes across as excuses not to work harder. Which, again, I don't want to call them lazy because they still make, I mean, not that I like every Final Fantasy game, I think they're all equally great, but they still made great games. So, just to see them do that, and I'm so sick of Square and their obsession. They've even said they have an unhealthy obsession with graphics, which, like, I don't need great graphics. Like, it can look, like, 13 looks beautiful, I'm not going to deny that, but I don't need it to look amazing. Like, if they want to go stylistically different, like a cel-shaded route or something, I wouldn't complain. And Square Enix also has this real obsession with Advent Children, like how the combat worked in that, because they liked how fast it was, and they tried to emulate that when they were doing this game. And Advent Children was a movie. It's supposed to be fast-paced, and in a movie, yeah, you're not going to wait your turn. That's part of the suspension of disbelief that comes with playing a game. It just doesn't work in... The element doesn't work the same between the two mediums. It's completely different. I wish I didn't do this. This text here. Especially if I filed a counterclaim, I would have been fine. I might fix that at some point because when I did my web stream for Lightning Returns, I got copyright claimed by Square Enix, but a little bit of a file dispute, and the claim was released. I found that Square generally doesn't care if you use their footage. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, oh god, they're the fucking worst. They claim everything. I had to upload my Batman v Superman review 6 fucking times with alterations before I was able to get it on YouTube in a way where Warner Brothers wasn't blocking it worldwide. It was the most obnoxious fucking thing. And it made no sense because sometimes I would reuse the clips from like the same scene. And in one instance they're claimed and in another they're not. And I had to add that watermark after a while. And it took forever because I have to re-edit it, then export it, which takes a while, and then upload it, which takes a while, and just to get notified that it doesn't work. And I had to do that shit 6 fucking times. And then they claimed my Wonder Woman review twice. Like when I first did the Wonder Woman review, I uploaded all the December videos were uploaded in November because that's when I finished them. And when I did the Wonder Woman one, they claimed the ending because I was using to save time in editing. I was using the trailer shots. So then I went back and I was like, alright, I cleaned it up, I added new clips, and I re-uploaded it, and there was no claim. And then last week, at the time I'm recording this, I got a fucking email saying that someone manually claimed the clip in the Wonder Woman review. So I filed a counterclaim, and I got rejected. It was really, and now I'm not going to follow it up because I really don't feel like having my video taken down and having to upload it again. So it's really obnoxious. And I don't even I'm not trying to make money off the fucking reviews. I really don't give a shit. I don't really care about people making money on commentaries or reviews or whatever. It's just the fact that I don't want obnoxious ads on my video, and I just don't want to deal with that shit. And if YouTube is going to offer fair use, if they're going to have fair use be involved in how their system works, then they need to, I think they should uphold it, because this does fall, the review for Wonder Woman and all those reviews fall under fair use, and if they're going to abide by fair use, then they actually need to abide by it and not leave it up to the copyright holder to determine what's fair use and what's not, because they're obviously going to just say whatever they want is fair use, and that's not a balanced system. Now, if I was doing things that definitely violated fair use, I could understand it, but when it falls under critical analysis, then it annoys me. And if YouTube was just honest and they said that we don't care about fair use, this is our website, this is how the rules are, I would appreciate that more, because that's fine. That's YouTube can have their own set of rules and guidelines, and if one of their guidelines was that the claimants, the copyright holder, can claim your video whenever, even if it falls under what's legally considered fair use, that's fine. Just don't lie to me and say that you have my back with copyright and offer fair use, and then not uphold it. That's my issue. I just don't like being lied to, because fair use in a lot of ways is a great thing, and it's utilized in a lot of good ways to show certain points, and more often than not, from what I've seen, very few times is it used to do anything that borders on illegitimate use. So I don't know, that's a whole situation that drives you crazy. I really don't give a fuck if someone is like, well, they're claiming my video, then I can't make money off them. I don't give a fuck about that. YouTube ad revenue sucks. So who gives a fuck? And honestly, it's your fault for relying on a website that has proven itself to be unstable for the last God knows how many years as steady income. Yeah, Matomo Toriyama, he's the fucking guy who doesn't want you to have towns and villages. So yeah, Square Enix, I mean, to their credit, they're pretty good about that. And apparently Nintendo's going to be good about that now, which is good. Not that I actually never had any issues with Nintendo claiming footage. I mean, to be fair though, I think the only Nintendo, I did the Switch video, the Switch E3, and I did my Fire Emblem review, and they never claimed that. And I feel really good now that I don't have to worry about that being claimed. I don't care so much if they just put their name on the review. Like with Warner Brothers, that's what they're doing with the Wonder Woman one. And I find it annoying because I don't want the ads, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst thing in the world. I get really annoyed when I have a review and it's been up for a while and then it gets out of nowhere just blocked worldwide or even taken down. So, well, yeah, a lot of unfocused ranting in regards to the copyright thing, just because I'm staring at this fucking. I really should have just disputed this, but I didn't know about the dispute system at the time, or maybe I did and I didn't trust it. Who knows? I wish this updated version of the review had more views, though, just because this is what I consider the better version, except for this text. Yeah, this really is where I checked out with this review. Or with this game, I should say. This is where I really started to lose it.
Exact same page and you just decide to kill them? I mean, I'm not against any of these fuckers dying, but it has to make sense.
Damn right it has to make sense. Unless he just shot Vanille right in the fucking head.
No one else can. Then he turns to Crystal, which indicates he...
Yeah, this is apparently like he didn't complete his focus. He was just resummoned by Dicely. But, like, then why did he turn to Crystal? It's really not explained. The narrative in this game is so fucking terrible.
The guy tried to murder you all for literally no reason, and he's a hero.
And when they go back to Cocoon, it's just like a constant headache. Oh, God, yeah. Okay. I forgot to bring this up before when I was talking about the story. This game and Final Fantasy XIII and Final Fantasy X have some of the absolute laziest forms of storytelling in the sense of 10 is lazy in the sense that it's literally just character going from point A to point B to point C to point D while someone explains to them what's going on over and over again. Just explains random background information in a way that just feels like I'm being read a bedtime story. And with 13, they reiterate the same shit at the end of every fucking level. Every level starts off, characters try to get somewhere, they go there, they talk about destiny and their fate and shit, and then it just goes to the next group of characters, and it's the same fucking thing. And it never fucking changes. It's always the characters talking about, oh, hope and love and our futures and all this bullshit. Yeah, that's in good taste. That's in great taste. Whatever. My hope is that I have an audience that's not super sensitive. And yeah, I love that they put Vanille's brand on her fucking, like, this game and 10 are really, like, the worst in terms of storytelling. 10, see, there are different kinds of bad storytelling. 10 is bad in that it's just so blatant and so cookie cutter and so constructed and so manufactured and so unnatural. It's just being read a fucking... It literally is like Lulu is just reading Tidus a book at every fucking village to explain what the context of the world is, and then when she's too busy, she just gives the book to Waka and he starts talking, and then when he's too busy, he gives it to Orin. But it's just people constantly explaining shit to somebody, and the fish out of water shit can only work for so long before you're like, what is the actual, like, care or thrust? What is the actual passion here? Because I don't feel any passion. I just feel like where's the reality? Where's the life? Where's that fucking force that makes me give a shit? Because I don't give a shit. I'm being told why I should give a shit, but I don't actually feel like I should give a shit. There's no feelings in the entire story. In 13, they just keep telling you the same shit. And I realize I'm kind of getting repetitive with that, but it really is just so boring. It's the same thing, in case you forgot. And because they overcomplicate the story so much with such little exposition, so they keep telling you the same things with the characters, and they keep showing you the fucking plot points with the little load screens, and then they give you more with the fucking data logs. Oh, God. I really could rant about this game all... I'm very proud of that little slide there where it's like a bunch of mean shit about Vanille. But... Yeah, I really could bitch about this game all day. I mean, I've been doing that for like almost an hour now. Honestly, this Ragnarok looks cooler than the actual Ragnarok, but still not cool. Oh god, this is so stupid. The excuse that I've heard for this is that they weren't actually Seats, they just were made to think that they were Seats. Still stupid. Why do you all... I love how all Final Fantasy games, almost all of them end with, like, the groove floating around the bad guy. Yeah, and I actually did buy popcorn to do this. I wasted perfectly good popcorn because of this piece of shit game.
Fucking kidding me! The one horror you've been building up.
I remember when I was recording this line in particular, this little rant, my wife was actually sleeping, and I was like warning her, I'm like, I'm gonna be screaming later, are you sure you're gonna be okay to sleep? And she's like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then I did all this screaming, and she didn't even fucking budge. She slept like a little baby.
Fucking morons! I mean, I get they were going to attack it before because all the XIII soldiers were going to...
And I had to read that in a dialogue.
Well, beat them to it, but the XIII soldiers were told to stand down.
God, this is so stupid.
And what makes even less sense is that Orphan fights back.
Yeah, seriously, if you... What kind of villain is like... It's the same thing as Kai. It's like, I will win by dying. It's like, well, then just fucking kill yourself. Just fucking kill yourself. Why you gotta make it so complicated?
Plummet to the ground. Gee, I wish we could have seen that coming. You're all fucking morons.
And playing Lightning Returns, like, they're really trying to summon Bunavelzo.
Somehow know how to combine together and become Ragnarok and save Cocoon. Okay, did Orphan not know that two people...
I like how this whole ending rant I have, it starts out as me just pointing out plot holes, and then it just becomes a fucking rant about all this shit I hate. And that looks so stupid. How do two people look like that, become that?
And now they're just like, oh, I guess we better turn our Ragnarok switch on. So Cocoon is saved, Sarah and Dodge are saved, her and Snow get engaged, Saz reunites with his son,
Lightling. I could have pronounced that better. Yeah, I'm not convinced that they aren't in some way, like, lesbians. They imply it so much, and I know people think deep friendship or whatever. I mean, you never know. I mean, this game attracted anime fans, and you never know what anime fans are. There are anime fans that ship Lightning and Sarah, who are, in case you forgot, they're sisters. So, that's creepy.
Some of the worst writing I've seen in years. It hurts my brain just thinking how much worse this series could get. No matter how you look at
that is some really bad ADR. I couldn't find a way to make the... Ironically, I couldn't find a way to make the audio sound worse. I have a great mic now, so I couldn't figure out a way to make it look... or make it sound worse than it did back then.
God knows how many hours of my life...
And then reiterating the same points, because back then I recorded with the cell phone, now I actually have a microphone.
So simplistically boring that I would rather drive my Ford Focus.
Credit to my wife, she came up with this joke, and I actually really liked it.
I hated this fucking game. I hated it. This game is a piece of shit and deserves only one thing.
And this I actually thought was a relatively clever, maybe not funny, but a relatively clever way of working in the introduction to 13-2, because I don't know why 13-2. I just feeling maybe the whole graveyard thing is. I was just feeling doing a Friday the 13th Part 6 little homage. My delivery here could have been so much better, but I just wanted to get over with. And I should probably add some annotations here to the original review, or the 13-2, I should say. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys will bear with me for the rest of this month when I upload old shit, so thanks for watching.